The action of June 28, 1803 marked the opening shots of the Blockade of Saint-Domingue after the collapse of the Treaty of Amiens and the outbreak of the War of the Third Coalition in May 1803. A French heavy frigate and a corvette, both partially armed and flûte and unaware of the recently begun war, met three British 74-gun ships of the line. The corvette was overhauled and captured, but the frigate, sailing close to shore, managed to outmaneuver her opponent and deliver a devastating raking broadside that put her out of action. The feat of a frigate managing to escape a ship of the line yielded high praise for Willaumez, who had commanded the frigate. A large painting by Louis-Philippe Crépin was commissioned in 1819 to commemorate the event. France had been in peace with Great Britain since the Treaty of Amiens in 1801, allowing her to consolidate her grasp on her colonies overseas. This was particularly sensitive in Saint-Domingue, where the Haitian Revolution had raged since 1791. First Consul Bonaparte ordered the Saint-Domingue expedition, under General Leclerc, to curtail the separatist tendencies of General Toussaint Louverture. Meanwhile, the Treaty of Amiens proved to be an unsuitable settlement of Franco-British differences. Its application by both parties became erratic and tensions grew. In May 1803, Britain declared war on France, setting the War of the Third Coalition into motion. In late June, this news had yet to reach the French station of Saint-Domingue. On June 27, 1803, the 40-gun frigate Pursuivant, under Willaumez, departed Lescaze, bound for Cap Haitien, in the company of the 16-gun corvette Mignon, under Commander Jean-Pierre Bargaud. Neither of the ships was fully armed or manned. Pursuivant, pierced to mount 24 24-pounder long guns on her battery and 16 8-pounders on her castles, carried only 22 and 12 respectively and, more critically, had only 25 shots for each gun and a crew of only 150 men. Mignon, nominally carrying 16 18-pounder long guns, was equipped only with 12 12-pounders and an 80-man complement. A 50-ship British convoy was sailing off Mole St. Nicholas under escort of three 74-gun ships of the line. They were the 74-gun HMS Hercule, Cumberland, and Goliath, under Captain Henry William Bayton, Captain Charles Brisbane and Acting Captain John B. Hills respectively. In the early morning of June 28, 1803, the two formations came in view of one another. Spotting two strange sails inshore, the British escort detached to investigate and Willaumez soon identified the three 74s as British. Unaware of the outbreak of the war but suspicious of the intentions of the British, Willaumez prepared a defense in case of attack. At 8, the 74-gun HMS Hercule came in range. After signaling the other ships in her division, she hoisted the British flag, prompting Pursuivant to hoist the French colors. Meanwhile, Goliath chased Mignon and taking advantage of the sea wind whereas the corvette was becalmed, quickly overhauled her. After a few token shots, Mignon struck her colors to her overwhelming opponent. At 9, Hercule fired a ball shot at Pursuivant, initiating the battle. As Hercule closed to the shore to engage, she had less and less water under her keel and came into lighter and erratic winds, although these advantaged the shallower and more maneuverable frigate. Pursuivant lacked the ammunition to energetically answer Hercule's fire, and her diminished crew could not simultaneously man her batteries and handle her sails. On the other hand, because she had to ration her fire, Pursuivant aimed careful shots that soon caused significant damage to Hercule's rigging. After 2 hours of mutual cannonade, at 11, the wind fell and both ships almost came to a sudden halt, their main sailing resource now the gusts of wind from the shore. Taking advantage of this change in the weather, Willaumez ordered his gunners to cease fire and help maneuver his frigate, quickly coming in position to rake Hercule, only then firing a devastating broadside at her stern. The damage and confusion on Hercule were such that, probably fearing to run aground, she effectively dropped out of action. This allowed Pursuivant to reach the safety of Mole St. Nicholas, cheered by the crowd and saluted by the artillery of the forts. Hercule's rigging had suffered considerably, but she only had a few wounded. Hills was forced to retire with his ship to Jamaica for repairs. HMS Vanguard replaced Hercule in Bayton's squadron. Though Mignon served briefly in the Royal Navy, there is no record of her actually being commissioned. She grounded and was condemned in 1804. Pursuivant had 10 men killed and 15 wounded. Her hull had sustained several shots and her rigging was much damaged. As Cap Haitien lacked the resources to repair the frigate, Willaumez had to sail her back to France. After Willaumez departed and sailed around the south of Cuba, a violent gust of wind dismasted Pursuivant, forcing Willaumez to make a port call in Baltimore to repair his frigate. When ready, he departed the Chesapeake, avoided the British blockade and crossed the Atlantic, reaching Rochefort on May 28, 1804. There, he was intercepted by a British ship of the line, which he battled for 30 minutes before breaking off and finding shelter at Isle d'Aix. Pursuivant hardly sailed again, and became a hulk in June 1806. Willaumez had been made a Knight in the Order of the Legion of Honor in February. He was promoted to officer in June, and congratulated by Navy Minister Deckers. A large painting by Louis-Philippe Crépin was commissioned in 1819 to commemorate the event. It long decorated the office of the Minister of the Navy, and is now in display at the Musée National de la Marine in Paris. Guérin, Léon, 1857. Histoire maritime de France, in French. 6. Dufour 18 Mulet. Hannequin, Joseph François Gabriel, 1835. Biography maritime ou notices historiques sur la vie et les campagnes de marins célèbres français et étrangers, in French. 1. Paris, Regnault Editeur. James, William, 2002, 1827. The Naval History of Great Britain, Volume 3, 1800 to 1805. London, Conway Maritime Press. ISBN 0-85177-907-7. Levitt, Prosper, 1866. Les Devoirs Maritimes de la France, Notices biographiques sur les plus célèbres marins, in French. Bertrand. Trout, One-Sime Joachim, 1867. Bateles Navals de la France, in French. 3. Chalamelain. Fonds Marine. Campaigns, Operations, Divisions et Stations Navals, Missions Diverses. Inventaire de la Série Marine BB4. Tome Premier, BB41A 482, 1790 to 1826, 1.